Hi guys, this is Andrew Steve at VHS Reviews here, and today I'm going to show a book review of Cars 2, and here we go. British secret agent Figment Diesel had received a distress call from the fellow agent. Finn traveled to the agent's location in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. He was stowed away on an attack ship that was heading towards an old rig. Using the grappling hooks and magnetic wheel armor, Finn silently drove up the side of the rig. As he reached the upper levels he released, there were hundreds of oil rigs surrounding him. Finn hid inside the rig and observed a wanted criminal called Professor Z lying beside the professor, and he saw crew was a special TV camera. Then Finn was a fellow agent. He had been crushed into the cube of scrap metal. Suddenly, Professor Z spotted Finn and sped his gang after him. When they cornered Finn, the leap of the rig turned into the submarine and escaped. Meanwhile, in the town of Radiator Springs, Mater had called off all of his friends together to welcome home his very best friend, Lightning McQueen. Lightning was a famous racing car, and he had just won the Doug Hudson Hornet Memorial Piston Cup. Mater couldn't wait to see him. When Lightning arrived, everyone went to the Wheel Rail restaurant where they watched a TV show. Mater called into the show to defend his best friend against Francesco Baroni in Italy racing car, who saw he was faster than Lightning. So Lightning had agreed to race against Francesco in the three-event race hosted by former oil tycoon Sir Miles Axelrod, the World Grand Prix. Mater, Luigi, Guido, Fillmore, and Sarge quickly offered to be Lightning's pit crew. Soon Team Lightning McQueen headed to the first World Grand Prix event in Japan. Lightning and his friends had a fantastic time sightseeing in the city of Tokyo. That there were skyscrapers, neon lights, kabuki theater, and high-tech jets. Then they all went to a fancy welcome party. Picnic Missile and Holly Shiftwell and other British agents were also there. They were looking for an American agent who had some top secret information for them. At the party, Lightning wanted to make a good impression in front of Miles Axelrod, but Mater embarrassed him by leaking a huge puddle of oil on the floor. Lightning sent Mater to the toilets to get cleaned up. Professor Z's goons, Graham and Acer, had cornered the American agent Rod Torque red line in the toilets. When Mater came in, the agent secretly stuck the decide he was supposed to give to the British spies on Mater instead. Later, Professor Z questioned Torque and guessed that the American agent had passed the device to Mater. The professor sent Graham and Acer to track down the tow truck and get the device back. On the day of the race, Finn and Holly watched all the cars fill up with a new alternative fuel called All in All. Sir Miles Axelrod, the inventor of All in All, was hosting the World Grand Prix to introduce the fuel to the public. Graham and Acer made Professor Z's special TV camera at one of the racing cars, but the camera wasn't ready. A camera at all. It shot out a beam of radiation that made the all in all in the car boil and then explode. Then they made at another car and another. When Acer tried to grab Mater, Holly spoke to him through his headset and guided him out of the pits where he'd been with the rest of Lightning's pit crew. Mater happily followed Holly's instructions. He thought he was meeting her for a date. Graham and Acer suddenly started to close on Mater, but Finn jumped in. Mater thought the flight was the best karate demonstration he'd ever seen. Back at the race, Lightning lost to Francesco Baroni. Lightning was upset that Mater had given him such bad racing tips. Lightning didn't release that he'd been listening to Mater, commenting on Finn's fight with Graham and Acer. Reports surrounded Sir Miles Axelrod and asked him if All in All was to blame for the engine explosions during the race. Miles insisted that his flu was completely safe. Meanwhile, Mater had returned to the pit garage and was trying to explain to Lightning what had just happened. But Lightning didn't believe him. He was angry with Mater for making him lose the race. Mater felt terrible. He felt a goodbye note for Lightning and went to the airport to fly home. Vignemissel, who was disguised as an airport security guard, was waiting for Mater at the airport. Finn still thought Mater was a secret agent. Suddenly, Graham and Asa arrived again and tried to capture Mater. Holly saved both Mater and Finn from the attack by whisking them off on a spy plane called Siddeley. Back at the hotel, Mater read Lightning read Mater's more note. Lightning didn't want Mater to live, but at least not now he would have to worry about Mater getting into trouble. In fact, Mater was helping Finn and Holly together. They looked at the holographic photo that was on the device that Torku had stuck to Mater. Mater said the photo was of the poorly made fuel guzzling engine with some expensive new parts, but he didn't know who the engine belonged to. Finn, Holly, and Mater flew to Paris and was hoping a black market parts dealer called Tober could tell them who the mysterious engine in the photo belonged to. Mater explains that the engine belonged to a Lemon, a car that didn't work properly. Gremlins, Pacer, Hugos, and Trunkos were all types of lemons. Tober said there was going to be a big meeting of lemons in Porta Corsa, which was also the location of the next World Grand Prix race. Lightning and his crew soon arrived in Italy for the race. Their first stop was Luigi and Guido's hometown. Everyone came out to greet them. Meanwhile, Holly was disguising Mater as one of the Lemon's tow trucks so that he could sneak into the meeting. She gave Mater lots of cool spy gadgets too. The next day, before the race in Porto Corsa, Lightning added to Francesco Bernoulli that he really missed Mater. Little didn't Lightning know Mater was actually nearby. With his disguise, Mater had made it into the Lemon meeting held at the casino. Holly and Finn were waiting outside, listening in the action through Mater's headset. Professor Z introduced the Lemons to the big boss, where appeared on the TV screen, but only the engine was visible, the same engine that was in Torku's photo. The big boss said that once all in all was proven to the dangerous, all cars would use petrol again. Then the Lemons who controlled the oil reserves would finally get the respect and power that they deserved. As the big boss spoke, Graham and Acer aimed the fake TV camera at Carla Veloso, the racing car from Brazil. Finn raced to the top of the tower to stop Graham and Acer, capture him with a giant magnet. Finn was taken away and Graham and Acer continued to aim to even more cars. Their next target was Shu Todoroki, the racer from Japan. Shu's engine exploded. At the race track finish line, Lightning shot across for the win. By now, everyone thought Olino was to blame for the explosions and crashes, but Lightning insisted he would use Olino in the final race. The big boss heard Lightning's statement and gave the order to destroy him. Maynard tried to live and warn his friend he had to escape using his spy gear. Maynard finally arrived at Porto Corsa, but before Lightning could spot him, the Lemons hauled Maynard away. Maynard was tied up inside a big clock called Big Bentley along with Finn and Holly. They were in London, England, the location of the final race. Graham and Acer told Maynard that they had planted a bomb inside Lightning's pit at the race. After the pair left, Maynard managed to escape and rushed to save his friend. Finn and Holly struggled to get free too. Suddenly, they realized that the Lemons had let Mater escape on purpose. The boom was actually on Mater, and he was heading straight to Lightning. Holly quickly extended her wings and burst straight through the clock face. When Mater arrived at the pits, Lightning was so happy to see him that he hooked him onto his body. Just then, Finn radioed to say the bomb was on Mater. Mater had to leave before Professor Z could detonate the bomb, so he rocketed off. Meanwhile, Professor Z spotted Hollow from his viewing box and then fled. Now it was up to Graham and Acer to do away with Lightning so that the Lemons could finally rise to power. Holly flew off the help Mater while Finn went after the professor. Professor Z fled to the river, where he attempted to escape on the combat ship. Finn lassoed the professor with cables in capture him. Graham and Acer went seconds away from crashing into Mater and Lightning. Fall flew down, hit the road, and slammed to Graham and Acer. The Lemons went flying into the air and were defeated. Finn arrived with Professor Z and ordered him to deactivate to bomb. The professor informed Finn that only the one who activated the bomb could turn it off, and that was not him. Suddenly, the Mater worked out who the Lemon's big boss was. He flew straight to Buckingham Palace with lightning. When Mater landed at the palace, Finn in the guards, warning him to keep the bomb away from the Queen. Mater quickly explained that the engine in the photo belonged to Sir Miles Axelrod. Miles Axelrod was the big boss and the biggest lemon of all. Mater went on to explain that Axelrod made all in all look dangerous so that everyone would give up on alternative fuels and go back to using petrol, because then all the lemons would get rich. Axelrod was trapped and had no choice but to deactivate the bomb. Mater had saved the day. No one was prouder of him than Lightning. The Queen thanked Mater by knighting him for his bravery. Soon Mater Lightning had the rest of the friends were back at home and preparing for the next big event, the Radiator Springs Grand Prix. Finn and Holly came to watch. They wanted Mater to join them on another spy mission, but the tow truck politely refused. He belonged in Radiator Springs with his best buddy Lightning. The end. Okay guys, that's it. So, if you like my content, please click like and subscribe. Next is Brave. We'll see you next time. Bye.